Steve here. The following video depicts a variety of things necessary in order to build a garden railroad. We hope you enjoy it, and if you want to purchase items, there'll be links at the end of the video. We hope you enjoy it. See you on the next one.
Whether you're just getting started in G-scale or garden scale railroading, or planning to build an entire railroading empire in your backyard, the basics remain the same. When you're first getting started in garden railroading, it's good to have a few of the basic tools on hand. Some wire, a wire cutters, a track bender, a cutoff wheel, an X-Acto saw, a hex wrench, a screwdriver, a Dremel tool, a soldering gun, some track, and some track cleaning tools. We'll discuss each of these tools a little bit more as we use them. For now, let's get started. These are split jaw rail joiners. They're my preference for joining one rail to another. You can use a conventional hex wrench to fit them, but a better choice is a special tool with a ball on the end, made by Split Jaw. This tool allows you to tighten the bolts from different angles when working on the track. Another handy tool to have is a Dremel tool with a wire brush on the end, or it can be interchanged with a cutoff wheel. Wire brush is great for cleaning the ends of the track before putting the split jaws on for a clean connection. The track bender is another handy tool if you want to create custom curves on your railroad or straighten an old piece of bent rail back to a different position. It consists of some metal wheels that fit over the rail and then can be adjusted to bend at either direction. And as you move the rail bender from the left to the right or vice versa, the track will bend according to which direction you've got the wheels facing. If you plan to bend the rails to fit your particular needs, you must first prepare the track by removing the rail joiners on either end and the small screws that hold the track and the ties together. Aristocraft track has a small hex wrench that comes with it to remove the rail joiners. LGB track just needs to be pried off with pliers of some sort. The small screws on the back of the Aristocraft track need to be removed so that the rail can be free to slide as the rails bend. On the back of LGB track, some of it has the ties split so that they can flex, and that's their flexible version. Otherwise, you're going to need to take an X-Acto saw and split the ties every once in a while so that, again, the rail can bend freely. Just cut through the plastic and then one on each side. Just every 2 or 3 ties, depending on how severe you're going to bend the rail. One little notch every 2 ties should be sufficient. Once you've bent the rail, you may find that the ends don't line up anymore because one rail is now shorter than the other. So that's where the cutoff wheel comes in handy. Just line up the blade with the shorter rail and then cut off the excess. A soldering gun is an important tool for joining the wires together and connecting them to the rail, and it consists of the soldering gun itself, the solder, and some flux, which is used to clean the oxidation off of anything where the wiring is going to be soldered. The connectors that I use are either the I or the Y connectors, which are available at any hardware store. They fit nicely over the split jaw rail joiners so that when I'm connecting the wires to the track, I simply put the bolt through the I or the Y and tighten it down. There are basically three types of rail: aluminum, brass, and stainless steel. We have here an example of the brass yellow and the aluminum silver. The brass offers the best conductivity if you're using track powered. However, it also requires the most maintenance to keep it clean and avoid the oxidation buildup. Aluminum, on the other hand, does not conduct electricity as well, but if you're using battery-powered locomotives, aluminum might be a good choice. Stainless steel is the most expensive. It does not tarnish, but at the same time, it's also harder on the wheels of your rolling stock and locomotives. Now, what do you do if you purchased some used rail and the ties are rotted out from the sun and weathering? It's simply a matter of removing the old ties as long as the metal rail is still good, and then replacing the old ties with some new plastic ties available from Pico. It's simply a matter of sliding the new ties over the rail. Now, once your track has been laid, it needs to be maintained and cleaned. So this is a tool by LGB. It has a wonderful pad on the bottom. I'm not sure what it's made of, but it works great. You can rub the rail, get the tarnishing off the surface, and you can see the difference from one cleaned area to the other. Now, if you want the locomotive to do the work, the same tool here is attached to a rail car of some sort with some rocks put inside of the plastic container to give weight to the pad, and then you put the rail car on the rails, and a locomotive can then pull the car around the track, cleaning it while the locomotive works. Same concept here, but this one uses a Scotch-Brite pad and a heavy weight with a screw down. Open it up and insert a clean Scotch-Brite pad. There's a piece of Teflon on the bottom and a heavy weight on the top. Tuck the Scotch-Brite pad in between there and tighten the heavy weight down onto the Scotch-Brite pad so it won't move. And once again, you can have the locomotive do the car. It's great if the first time around the locomotive has battery power so it can run on a dirty rail. But if you don't have that, then here's my favorite tool: a Scotch-Brite pad attached to a, what is that, a construction worker's plaster tool. And it's flexible, rotates around on the track, and all I did is added some Velcro pads to the tool, and then I keep replacing the Scotch-Brite pad as needed. It will just stick to the Velcro backing. That's great if you don't want to bend over. The track is on the ground and you don't want to bend over. There you have it. Ooh, breaking news. One of the club members just introduced me to this little product that he uses. It's a rechargeable battery that turns the electric motor there that's attached to a roller with some emery cloth attached to it. And as you turn the motor on, a locomotive comes up from behind and pushes the car around on the track, cleaning the track ahead of the locomotive. Transformers, the power source for your railroad empire. They come in a variety of sizes from a variety of manufacturers. They have to put out at least 18 to 24 volts of DC power. This one by LGB comes with their starter kit. It puts out about 5 amps of power, and it's adequate for their 10-foot starter kit circle on up to maybe a 50-foot circle with a small locomotive. This one, manufactured by Bridgework, puts out 10 amps of power, and it's adequate for larger locomotives which pull more power and for longer layouts which of course require more electricity. It's recommended that if you're using more than 50 feet of track that you piggyback the wiring, that is, add another wiring out of the back of this so that you can connect to the track every 50 feet, which would guarantee even distribution of the electrical current for the locomotives. Now let's talk about rolling stock. That's the box cars, tank cars, flat cars, and so forth. Let's start with couplers. There are a variety of couplers, the hooks and the loops and the knuckle couplers, and what do you do when they don't line up? Well, let's discuss that now. The first type of coupler we'll look at is the hook and loop type of coupler, where at least one of the cars has to have a hook which can join into the loop on the other car. Once the hooks are connected, the easiest way to separate the cars is to take a credit card or an automobile key and press down on the hooks and then push the cars apart. Another type of coupler is the knuckle coupler, which looks and acts more like the prototype on a real railroad. Push them together, they join. In order to separate them, you reach underneath the coupler and press up on the little tongue or tab, and the knuckles will open. Now, what do you do if you have a pair of knuckle couplers that look similar, but because they are of different brands, they don't actually line up or work together? Then what you must do is close the knuckles couplers with your fingers and then put one on top of the other and tuck them together that way. But what if you have rolling stock that has couplers that are completely different and you want to use them on the same train? Now what do you do? This is where you use a transition car. That is a car that has a knuckle coupler on one end and a hook and loop coupler on the other end. That way you can join the different railroad cars together. Now let's talk about wheels. When you purchase a new piece of rolling stock, it usually comes with plastic wheels. These are adequate for many applications, but I suggest upgrading to metal wheels if you're running longer trains. It creates less resistance. Also, metal wheels keeps the track cleaner than the plastic wheels do. And adding a lower center of gravity, it makes for smoother running cars with less derailments. To remove the plastic wheels, it's a simple matter of spreading the trucks apart and pulling out the axles. While you have the axles removed before you put the metal wheels in, it's a good idea to lubricate the sockets. I prefer to use dry lubricants such as graphite or Teflon over oil, since oil attracts dirt and these railroad cars are usually run outside in the dirt. It's not a good combination. Graphite is a little bit dirtier, messier, though it is a lubricant, and so I use Teflon dry lubricants. Squirting it down a little bit into the socket, I then insert the metal wheel in the same way that I spread the trucks apart. Give it a little spin. Insert the other wheel. Give it a little spin to spread it around. And an important thing, blow off the extra Teflon or lubricants before you put the car on the track, or you will be putting the extra lubricants onto the track, which creates a very slippery situation for the locomotives. Another little handy tool is this device made by LGB, and this is for putting cars onto the track. If you're running long trains with lots of cars, it's a quicker way to do it than putting them on and reaching under to put the wheels onto the track. Just simply put the device on the rails, put the car onto the device, and there you have it. Landscaping and dioramas. These are the things that put the life into the layout. Whether it's artificial Christmas trees and flowers mixed with natural rocks and painted pine cones, these are things that don't cost much money. Or whether it's novelty items, things that come in a kit form mixed with model cars, or recycled trash made into an industrial area. When you put it all together, it can make for an interesting layout. So, where do we get some of the stuff here? Well, much of it can come from Hobby Lobby, Michael's Craft Stores, Sears and Walmart at Christmas time, antique stores, Goodwill stores. This came from an office supply department at one of the stores. It's a filing device laid on its back, and it works for a bleacher. Set some people sitting on it and put it in front of an entertainment place. This is an ornament that came from Hobby Lobby, and these are from Michael's Craft Shop. Places like this get at Hobby Lobby. This we found at an antique store. This is another Christmas ornament. So whether it's natural rocks and artificial trees, carnivals, people hanging out, the community baseball game, it's the little commentaries on the realities of life that make the dioramas fun to have, make the railroad believable, and at the same time whimsical. So, I hope you've enjoyed this version of the Garden Railroading Basics for Beginners, and I hope it gets you started on the right track, whether you're starting off with a 10-foot circle or building an actual backyard empire. The basics are the same for everyone. So here's to happy garden railroading.